welcome back to WCS America Premier League Season 2 here live from Burbank in California, where the new ESL studios are located. We just finished up our first series of the day, rather surprisingly, I think, with such a convincing victory of Pick Baby.
Yeah, you know, going into that match, I definitely would have put my money on Revival. He's a player that's had a lot of success talked about last year and very successful in the first season. But hey, what can you say? Pig Baby's coming up and he's showing us his guns.
He's not done just yet though, as he will have another chance to redeem himself later today. But for now, we are getting ready for our second series of the day. It is going to be a classic. It's EG versus Team Liquid, so that's always fun. And it's going to be a rematch of two players that were in the round of 32 together as well in our first season. Back then, HuK was able to defeat Liquid's HerO 2-1. Let's see how it's going to go today. Our first map is going to be played on Frost again. And no, this is not like a forced Frost map setting or something. This is just a coincidence. Nate, take it away.
We've got in the bottom left position of Frost, our red Protoss player representing Evil Geniuses. It is HuK, our favorite Canadian player, one of them at least, up against easily one of the more popular Korean players we have competing in WCS America. In blue, it is representing Team Liquid, HerO.
Damn it, Nate, I was too quick with my zoom. We gotta work on this.
So
work on that coordination.
Got a lot of time, got a lot of awesome StarCraft games.
Of course, in the round of 16, and by the time we move to the round of 8, there will be a dedicated observer as well for WCS America, so we're really excited for that too. But for the round of 32, you guys are gonna have to bear with me, but I've been practicing, Nate. I've been taking notes, 22 pages at least, and I'm ready. I've been FaceTiming every night with Funkadelic. He's been giving me the ins and outs. Big shout out to Funka, of course. Either way, we see something interesting already over here in the left bottom side of the map. I believe that was an 11 gate opening for HuK. Is that correct?
It looked like an 11-12 maybe. It's certainly a couple seconds faster.
Okay, maybe it was a very early 12 gate. Either way, these two guys, they played against each other on Frost as well last season, and that was a really good game by HuK. I actually think that was one of the best PvPs that I've seen him play in a long time. There was nothing sneaky or hidden about it. It was just very good straight up play. He was dropping Archons. Yes, that's right, guys. He was dropping Archons, sending Zealots everywhere, even following it up with DTs, and eventually he just crushed HerO in a straight up fight. It was, like I said before, one of the best PvPs I've seen from HuK for a long time, and he must remember that game as well, and that must give him some confidence going into that series.
Yeah, that was a really cool game. Really great management of the late game harass and defending harass from him, and you know, that's one of the things that HerO's going to have to keep his eyes on as these players move forward. Of course, cross-spawn Frost means fast attacks by ground without Warp Gate are going to take a little bit longer than, say, some of the other positions. Well, what do you like to open up with? Do you think Stargate, Twilight counts on this map?
Yeah, I think either of the two is really good. Some players like to get funky and like go for a 1-gate Robo Expand, which is pretty solid against most things other than certain Stargate openings, in my opinion. That can be very hard to deal with. Or even very well executed 3-gate pressure could be hard as well. The thing is, PvP is so much about mind games. Yes, we know what's good on some maps and not. Like in theory, this is a pretty good Blink Stalker map, but because it is, a lot of people like to get funky, like to do something different. There's just not really a universally standard upon, you know, best opening in this matchup for this particular map. We see that HerO decided to go with 2 gateways, so he might drop 1 more gateway as he's spending some Chrono Boost energy as well on his Cybernetics core. So 3-gate pressure, there's nothing wrong with that. You can still transition out of it. It's by no means all in. While HuK is going for 1-gate Twilight, and as I said, it's solid. Doesn't necessarily have to be the best opening, but it's one of the better ones on this map for sure.
Yeah, it'll give him access to that blink tech, as you'd mentioned, which is pretty useful on this map. A lot of clips you can dance around. Stalker's going to pick off this probe, trying to come in and scout, and he does deny it, so no knowledge whatsoever of that Twilight Council, the number of gateways. He has no idea what HuK is up to.
Yeah, this is really nice for HuK, because HuK also did not probe scout at all, so he's still... Right now he has a small economic lead because he didn't sacrifice those minerals early on. He has to be a little careful though. I think he's very adventurous over here with 1 Stalker, and he's spreading his units quite thin. He finds another Stalker from here on the top side of the map, so he should kind of know where HerO is spawning now as well. This Mothership Core wanted to check the right bottom of the side of the map, but that's not necessary. If I was HuK right now, I'd just go back and I'd stay at home. This is funky as well. HerO dropped another gateway, but he also already has the Stargate as a follow-up, so once again, by no means this 3-gate pressure isn't all in. But if he can deal damage with it, it would be nice. However, the way that these builds are playing out so far, if HuK manages this well, whatever goes on the top of his ramp in his main base, which he should be able to manage well, I kind of like his build and his position.
Yeah, opening up Blink into Stargate, you have a bit more manageability with your mobility, and that first Stalker does get picked off running straight out into that. That is not a nice loss for HuK as he has to retreat to that ramp. The pylon has been placed outside of his natural expansion for those reinforcements. He has the Mothership Core with enough energy for Photon Overcharge if necessary. He's got about a minute to go on Blink. So this is just going to be a bit of a micro battle until this, once this Blink finishes. However, Photon Overcharge buys him at least a minute.
Oh, actually, HerO keeps these Stalkers on the top ramp. That means that they can't really run down right now without being in range of Photon Overcharge. So HerO's going to take a lot of damage over here. He might get the Mothership Core, but it's not even that crucial in this phase in the game. Blink is almost ready as well. The moment that Blink is ready and these units are still here, HerO is making a... I think HerO's making a mistake. I think he's slightly overcommitting. Soon HuK can start microing, and he's going to micro HerO all day, every day, because he has Blink and HerO doesn't have Blink.
Yeah, he comes forward, tries to get the Stalker. The Blink is there, but he does still lose it. And the Zealot even being warped in to come in here. He's still fighting into this Photon Overcharge, really helping to pick off these Stalkers. And HuK takes the numbers advantage, annihilating this force from HerO so far.
Wow, this was a very big victory for HuK. If we take a look at... Oh, it's not working. I want to bring up the Stalker lost tab, but for some reason it's not working. Either way, this is a great victory, of course. We take a look at the unit's lost tab. 1,700 resources lost for HerO. Above all, HuK has the tech advantage now as well. He even has pylons already on the other side of the base. The only thing that HerO has going... Does HerO have any units? HerO has one Oracle. That Oracle is actually going to do some real damage right now as it flies into the main base and it's going to ravage a lot of workers. So this is nice, but HuK has a major army over here on the other side of the map. And the only thing that HerO has is a Photon Overcharge and a Void Ray. If I was HuK, I would ignore the Photon Overcharge and I would start working on these pylons. Like, I would just fight in range of Photon.
Yeah, he blinks straight on top of the Void Ray. He will be able to pick it off. Probes already being brought forth to fight against these units. Another Void Ray is coming close to completion as the Zealots do begin to retreat. Wow. That Photon Overcharge helping a little bit, but that Void Ray, very expensive loss. However, HuK has taken some serious heat back home. Only 10 probes remain in his base.
I mean, I thought he was able to fight in range of Photon Overcharge, but just blinking forward, that also means that you can't blink backwards anymore, so you can't save your Stalkers. I think that was a small miscalculation by HuK. That Oracle killed a ridiculous amount of workers, as 16 workers went down. So HerO, who looked in a really dire position, is suddenly in a pretty okay position, standing on top of his ramp. He's going to wipe in a sentry as well. There is no high ground vision over here for HuK. So if I was HerO, I wouldn't give it to him either.
Yeah, well, HuK runs the Zealots forward, blinks. He does get the extra Void Ray, and now it's just a couple of Zealots to tank. HuK has the potential here with this blink. There's the force field, but he has the vision up the ramp. He manages to go through. Photon Overcharge is triggered once again. The Zealots will barely be able to not pick off that sentry. He's still keeping his Stalkers alive with that blink, though.
Yeah, but the problem is HuK is not rebuilding his workers on the bottom side of his map, or in his main base, I should say. So he's working with an almost non-existent economy. The only thing that he has is 420 minerals a minute. Well,
not useful in StarCraft.
No, very good in other parts in life perhaps, but right now this is not the best case scenario for HuK. HerO knows that every second that goes by, he should still be ahead in workers. He's wiping in Zealots as well. The fact that HuK has Blink is awesome, but with just 5 Stalkers, I'm afraid that Blink is not going to make the difference. Well, that one Oracle, what a game changer that was.
Yeah.
I did not expect that to go that way either. I'm just being surprised all day, every day over here. WCS America so far. HuK with another forward blink, but HerO has the number advantage right now with his Stalkers. HuK brings his Mothership Core as well. He drops the Time Warp, that's kind of nice. Is there any energy on the Mothership Core of HerO? I guess it doesn't really matter. He has so many Stalkers. Like I said, HuK has Blink, but I don't think it matters right now. It's a numbers game, and the numbers are in favor of HerO.
Even with Blink, HuK only 4 Stalkers, warps in another 3 Zealots, but against 7 Stalkers and those 3 gateways with that full economy of HerO, it's going to be super difficult. He's really microing his heart out to try to find a way to make this work, but there it is, GG. HerO will take game number 1 of our second best of 3 here at WCS America Season 2.
Not every day you will lose 6 or 7 Stalkers on one base in a PvP match on Frost and you still come out victorious. It was really, I was really wondering why HerO was staying that long in HuK's main base, even when Photon Overcharge went down. And he saw the gateways. What was going on, I think that he was quite worried about, or not worried, I think that he was thinking, I'm playing against DT, so I don't think that HuK has a whole lot of going for himself right now, so he's relying on Dark Templars dealing damage on the other side of the map. So I'm just gonna keep my Stalkers here, and the moment that Photon Overcharge runs out, I'm gonna be able to win this gateway skirmish because, hey, I have more units. But actually the opposite was true. HuK was making a lot of Stalkers, and he had Blink, so suddenly HerO was in a really dark position. But at one Oracle flying in, with the moment where HuK had no energy for Photon Overcharge and no energy for anything else, you can see, like, normally if this would have been a DT opening, you could say, hey, this is looking quite okay for HerO. The moment Photon Overcharge runs out, you know, I can do something with this. But suddenly there's Blink as well, and it's like, well, okay, now I'm kind of...
Yeah, I mean, the other nice thing about the position that HerO tried to hold was that he has high ground, so his reinforcements can shoot on any Zealots that get close to his Stalkers, but, you know, an overextension that he was able to compensate for thanks to that Oracle that puts him up 1-0 in this series. And definitely a rough game for HuK. You look at that and you say, I killed so much. You feel like that's a position where, yeah, the counterattack makes a lot of sense, but I think we were kind of curious as to how fast that Stargate had come in for HerO, and he used it in the best way possible.
Yeah, it's weird because it was not a super quick Stargate, but it was quick for that phase in the game, because normally you don't see players open up with 3 gateway aggression and then have additional tech that quickly behind it already. It's either like, I'm gonna 3-gate and I'm gonna wipe in quite some units, and I'm not super all in with this, but you know, my tech is supposed to be a little later. But even before HerO went for his first real wipe in of those gateways, he already had that tech follow up. So I can't really fault HuK for not expecting an Oracle in that phase in the game. But of course, you know, hindsight looking back at it, if HuK would have left 2 Stalkers behind, he would have still been very dangerous on the other side of the map with all his Blink Stalkers, and he would have been completely safe at home. But yeah, it's very easy to say when there is no Fog of War.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Well, what HuK saw could have been just been a regular 3-Stalker opening from HerO, that Oracle catching him out of left field. Our second map is going to be played on Overgrowth, and there's, you know, 2-player map, so scouting is not only easier, but also getting to your opponent if you want as well. How do you like PvP on this map, Roddy?
I think it's cool. I think it's very straight up. I'm gonna let them know that we are ready as well. Have to make sure that if I'm the one firing up this game or not. It seems like our players are ready. GG. Good luck, have fun. So our second map is going to be played on Overgrowth. I like it. I think it's a very straightforward map. It's 2 players. There's not really a luck or a whole lot of random elements in this map. Stargate play is quite popular, but also just the gateway pressure like we saw before.
Yeah.
It's not the best map for Blink Stalkers, but once again, this is like the old little rock, paper, scissors PvP, but then with a few more extra elements that I can't come up with right now. Because Stargates are quite popular, sometimes a Blink opening can still be effective on this map. If your opponent doesn't have the tools in the right place, it can always be hard to deal with.
Yeah, and you know, another cool point about the map, of course, is that natural area, it's not a direct ramp into it. But guys, we're loaded in. Here we are on Overgrowth in the top right position. We've got our red Protoss player who is currently down 1 map in this best of 3 from Evil Geniuses. It is HuK. HuK making it to the round of 16 last season. Very deep run for being taken out by Revival. Up against our blue Protoss player in the southwest. From Team Liquid, it is HerO.
Yes, of course, HerO is our blue Protoss, who's switching around the colors a little bit. Trying to fix the score. Of course, HerO is the Protoss who is currently leading 1-0 and not HuK. Even though HuK got very close, you could almost count it as a win, but it wasn't a win in the long run. This time it is an 11 gate, 100% certain that it is. I must say, you know, these are like small things and nitpicking that me as a Protoss player is fascinated by. You know, the 99% of the viewers probably don't care at all. But I must say I was really interested by HuK's early Stalker movement on Frost. He was really eager with it. Like normally early game PvP, losing 1 unit can almost be detrimental against some certain or some openings that are out there. And HuK just sent that 1 Stalker that he had, that 1 lone Stalker, all the way to the top side of the map without knowing where his opponent spawned, without knowing about his opponent's opening. And he also sent his 1 Mothership Core all the way to the right bottom. So in that phase in the game, he only has 2 units. They're very far apart of each other. And he was going for a 1-gate Twilight, which is a little risky in my opinion. Like if you lose 1 unit super early on and your opponent follows up with some aggression immediately, you could find yourself on the back feet. Or on back foot almost immediately, and it can be an uphill battle from that point on. We'll see if HuK is going to try to go that adventurous again. As so far, I love his opening, as this is an opening that's very close to my heart in PvP. The 11 gate where you drop the cybernetics core before you drop your second pylon.
Yeah, he's got a very fast lead, about 20 seconds ahead of HerO Cybernetics Core, who's also going for 6 probes on gas. So we're getting the feeling that it's going to be very tech heavy from both of these players potentially moving into this very early aggressive phase.
HuK again, not scouting. HuK didn't even scout for proxies, by the way. That's not something you see every day on this level. He didn't even check the outskirts of base. Of course, Liquid HerO, not the type of Protoss that you expect to drop a gateway in your base. Once again, as we have to fix our scoreboard, by the way, as HerO is the Protoss who's leading 1-0, and it's not HuK.
Yeah, the sub-probes moving around. And, you know, this is one of those situations where HerO can say to himself, if your Stalker's a little bit faster than mine, maybe you've made an adjustment to your build. Is this one of those things you think is easy to tell when you scout, like that extra fast gateway?
Yeah. Players on this level, they definitely are able to scout it. They will see the difference between an 11 and a 13 gate 100 out of 100 times. Maybe not like between 11 and 12, especially if the 12 was very early on. But I think HerO right now already knows, like, hey, that was a quick Stalker. Your Stalker was quite a few seconds quicker than mine. And as far as I know, I'm Liquid HerO, and I know when I have to build a Stalker. So he should figure out that something is a little bit off. He's still dropping a Twilight behind this. HuK is already walking across the map. He's going to find his Mothership Core. He's bringing his own Mothership Core with him as well. That second Stalker from HuK, that is going to be the changer. And HerO has to be very careful that he sees this coming in time, so he should be able to run home in time. HerO, run back, and that's exactly what he does.
The Stalker does the skedaddle, getting out of there, but, you know, HuK going up to 3 gates very, very quickly. His warp gate is actually significantly ahead of Liquid HerO's, and, you know, HerO's finished up that Twilight Council, but I don't think if he starts Blink, is this even going to become a part of this game?
It could. I mean, there's still a Mothership Core, and the Mothership Core is here for one sole purpose. You buy time until Blink is ready. This is, in a way, a little bit similar to the last game, but I do think that HuK, it's really funny because HuK did not drop this target yet, which shows us that HuK is a little more serious and a little bit more right into your face about this 3 gateway aggression than HerO was on Frost, but it's still a very similar scenario. HerO is going to drop Photon Overcharge as soon as he feels like he really needs it. As you see, he waits till the final moment where he might be able to kill one Stalker. He actually loses one Stalker. Great focus fire so far by HuK. HuK microing the other Stalker as well, but it's still going to fall regardless, because HuK has so many more Stalkers. He's just fighting in range of Photon Overcharge. He's trading reasonably well so far.
Yeah, HuK standing in the face of death with a smirk in his face. He's got a nice little bit of a supply lead. Robotics facility is going up back home just in case for either a follow-up or a defensive play. Blink is getting close to completing, but that Photon Overcharge isn't going to last forever, and there's no energy to put a new one up.
Yeah, this could be very hard for HerO. I'm very worried for him. He's down 2 or 3 units. Just depends which kind of units there are. Actually, 3 units in this phase in the game, because all units are 2 supply. He did warp in a few additional Stalkers. Blink is almost ready. It will be ready in 20 seconds, but he's forced to pull probes right now. And if he loses more than 5-6 probes, I think that HuK can say that, hey, this has been successful for me. He's killing a lot of workers. HerO's still buying time. He wants Blink to finish up. Blink is ready right now. HuK even dropping sentries. I think those are sentries at home. He's even has the first Immortal already. I think this is a perfect decision by HuK to retreat right now. The damage has been dealt. Your 3 gateway opening was successful. He even brought the Mothership Core home because he was worried that it would perhaps be another Oracle flying into his base while he would be warping in Stalkers on the other side of the map. And every Protoss player will tell you that that is the most annoying thing in the world. It's like, I just warped in 2 Stalkers on the other side of the map, and then the Oracle shows up. This Mothership Core from HerO is playing with fire, by the way. It's probably going...
Yeah, he sent it across the map once it lost its energy. I mean, I would guess it's
going to fall. I think
it's a good scout, but he gets picked off. That means if he pushes with this Immortal or 2, that's a very difficult attack to stop. And, you know, HerO is outside of HuK's space, but I feel like the unit count is close enough that this isn't one of the situations where you can just blink on top of the opposing army and crush it.
Definitely not. If HerO would blink on top of this ramp, he would be making a big mistake. HuK still had 1 pylon on the bottom side of the map as well, while HerO, excellent minimap awareness, still drops the force field while he was most likely looking over here on this side of the map. Tries to make something happen with the Blink Stalkers, but he realizes immediately that this is a fight that he can't take. It's 2 sentries right now, so HerO has to micro, make sure he doesn't lose sentries without a reason. But at the same time, this makes it hard for HerO to be effective with the Blink Stalkers on the other side of the map. And we can see 1 more Stalker dying on the other side. HuK is doing very well so far in this game. I feel almost everything is going his way.
Yeah, pushing out with 2 Immortals now. He has a Nexus on the way back home. That lone runner Zealot is finally picked off, but stopping this attack is going to be quite difficult. Keep in mind there is not even a mothership core being rebuilt for HerO, so he has to just win with pure numbers. This isn't a situation where he can buy time with Photon Overcharge, maybe with some force fields, but even a lot of that energy has been spent holding the Zealot run-bys out.
I think HuK was just checking there, I think, to see if there was an expand or not here, and I think he was able to clarify that there was no expand. HerO moving out with his stalkers immediately, realizing like, hey, HuK has nothing to break force field. You know, if necessary, I can warp in 2-3 more sentries. I can force field for days if he wants to contain me, but he's not containing him, as HuK is already retreating. HuK doesn't have to be on the other side of the map right now. Forward blink going down for HerO, but again losing a stalker in the process.
Yeah, picks off a sentry, not terrible. Those immortals are a bit slower, and actually, well, attacking these plates needs to be careful. These stalkers could try to just pick off a few more of these units. Trades another stalker for another sentry. Do you like these small trades?
Normally I would be okay with it if you're ahead, because often the Blink Stalker player is the one with map control and is the one that slowly but steady wants to trade out his Blink Stalkers and get some real units out. But considering the fact that HuK is in a much better position, I don't think that trading a Stalker for a Sentry is a good trade right now for HerO. Not at all.
All right, well, we've got 4 Mortals on the map for HuK. This is a very powerful army. He's pretty much going to be instantly killing any Stalkers that run to engage him head-to-head, as his Nexus is complete in his natural as well. He has a good amount of probes saturating it. These Zealots on the right side going to get cleaned up by these roaming Stalker pack. Nothing huge, though, and for HuK, we actually have the Twilight. We have the Templar Archives on the way with +1 attack.
I mean, yes, those Stalkers pick up a bunch of Zealots on the right bottom side of the map, but that also means these Stalkers are out of position, way out of position to defend this Nexus. Now, HuK has to be a little bit careful. HuK is playing with fire a tiny bit because there's no way out for HuK, and he doesn't have a pylon anymore either. He will be able to take down this Nexus, I think. But if I was HerO right now, like, HerO, if you're ever going to find a good fight, this is your moment. Time Warp is...
Oh, there it goes, right on top of the army. Stalkers come from the back, blinking, focus firing on these Immortals. Some of the Immortals firing on the Zealots. Now HuK target firing, but losing the majority of his forces either way. And, you know, this is one of the situations where he denies that expansion, but now for HuK, it's time to defend, defend, defend. If he can hold on to this Nexus, he'll have a huge economic advantage, but I don't know, Kev. This is going to be really tough.
It's going to be indeed extremely tough. HuK is trading in the middle of the map as well. Of course, he doesn't have Blink, and HerO does have Blink, so he can chase back these Stalkers. Again, HuK was in a fantastic position, but marching across the map with just Immortals and Stalkers, no pylon to reinforce, no Mothership Core to recall out. That is very risky, and I love how HerO handled that. He waited, he's like, every weapon I get right now might tip the fight in my favor, and he had great focus fire. Like, I would love to see that fight again. He focus fired everything right. Not overkill on Immortals, not underkill either. His Immortals were shooting at the Stalkers from HuK. He had Zealots in the mix as well. Not many, but just enough to tip the fight in his favor. And that was the only way that HerO was going to find a way back into this game. Now, he hasn't won it just yet, because HuK still has a lot of force field. He has a Photon Overcharge, he has Immortals. But that fight was definitely a very good fight for HerO.
Yeah, these Stalkers from HerO trying to pick off a few probes in the interim, pull that army apart, see if he can find any positioning to abuse, as he, you know, there's the potential that he could try to throw some force fields on this ramp and lock out this blinkless army. There is the first couple force fields coming from HuK to push him back. Guardian shield gets popped. He's got this other Photon Overcharge here. HerO cannot break HuK just yet.
I like those force fields a lot from HuK. But those force fields, they may not have looked like great force fields, but those force fields disallowed HerO from dropping any good force fields himself. The sentries were not able to get in range, because obviously what HerO's looking for is like, hey, I got Blink Stalkers, you don't. I can move forward. If HerO drops a few force fields here and he zones out the sentries and the Immortals, and the reinforcements from HuK can't help, then there is a chance that HuK loses those units rather quickly. So HuK drops the force field immediately, pushing the army of HerO back and saying like, hey HerO, if you want to kill any of my units, you're going to have to come across these force fields, and that would just take way too much time or a forward blink, which means that HerO can't micro anymore. Some great force fields there by HuK, and HuK's still in a great position now because of the economic lead he has been in for a long time.
HuK finds himself with a significant army supply advantage, 63 to 37. And HerO, this is one of those situations where I feel like HuK, he has control of the momentum of this game. He could attack. He throws in this hallucinated Phoenix out. He wants to make sure before he commits what he's up against. And he has Archon Tech out as well. 2 of them about to finish up, +2 attack completing. Keep in mind, HerO's +1 has only just started.
Yeah, basically everything is in favor of HuK right now. It definitely got a little dicey when he lost those 4 Immortals and these Stalkers here. I'm sure that everyone was already like, oh, Game of Throws, and like almost second game in a row that HuK would throw. But he bounced back from that very well. I don't think that like what HerO had in mind, trying to split up the army with those 4 Blink Stalkers, was the right idea, because HuK just barely had enough units for that. So in the end, HuK capitalizing on the economic lead that he has, and right now he wants to make sure that he doesn't make the same mistake again, and this time he's moving across the map with a much scarier army, and above all he has the Mothership Core as well, so he could always recall out if he wants to.
Yeah, and the nice thing, even hallucinating some additional Archons, the nice thing about this is force fields are no longer a factor. The Archons will smash them. Time Warp placed on HerO's army. He's moving in. There are the force fields, and there are the Archons to clean him up. GG. HuK takes game number 2 here at our WCS America Group A. And a nice tied series we've got here, 1-1.
Yeah, kind of a cool game over here. Definitely perhaps a little messy from time to time, both players scrambling a little bit. But in the end, HuK, you know, he opened up with the 3 gateways and he got the damage that he was looking for. Behind that, he just did almost everything right. He retreated at the right time. He expanded at the right moment. Then that follow-up attack, like we said before, that made it a little dicey, like losing 4 Immortals and a bunch of Stalkers for a very few amount of units and canceling the Nexus. That is a trade that's questionable, but in the end, he just barely had enough time to rebuild. If we take a look at this fight, like I really look at like what HerO is focusing. He's just doing everything right. He's bringing in the Stalkers. Those Stalkers start warping on those Immortals. His own Immortal is shooting at Stalkers, and meanwhile he has Sentries and Stalkers shooting at the Immortals of HuK, which were of course super exposed. That fight just went as good as HerO could have possibly wished for. But in the end, it wasn't enough just because HuK was mining so much more money than HerO was.
It was just really nice the way that HuK, despite losing so many resources, like on paper, it's a lot of resources lost, high-tech units, but keeping the economy alive behind that is really all that matters when he was already saturated on his natural. Over time, he'll overcome those losses because he just has more money, and that's really nice for him. The third deciding map for this best of 3 will be King Sejong Station, and I really haven't seen too many PvPs on this map.
Yeah, I've seen a few in general because of this map and the way it's designed. Stargate is popular, but of course Stargate is just popular in general in PvP. But it's all about mind games right now. In game 1 we saw HerO opening up with a 3 gateway pressure. In game 2 we saw HuK opening up with 3 gateway pressure. I don't think you could say like, hey, both games the player opened up 3 gates even ended up winning, but it's a little more complicated than that. I don't think either player is going to do that this game, but what we will see, I don't know, it's hard to say. I wouldn't mind seeing a Twilight build at all again. I was a little surprised that you know, HerO never warped in a sentry. I think one sentry can help out a lot in overcoming some time where you're waiting for your blink to finish up and then you actually have some blink stalkers. But above all, I must say, like the way that HuK did that early game as well, that was kind of cool. He's like, yeah, you can Photon Overcharge, but I have like 6 Stalkers over here because HuK went all out on his 3 gateway aggression. I have like 6 Stalkers and you have like 3. Like Photon Overcharge is good, but I can actually fight this. And I think HerO was pretty surprised by HuK staying in range of Photon Overcharge for that long, but being that successful with it.
Yeah, it was really cool because he managed to peel at least 2 of those Stalkers off of the side once he ran into his base. Like he pulled it just outside of the range before they were destroyed. There were a couple Stalkers with maybe 15 or so hit points left. It was a really nice control shown by HuK in that situation to keep his units alive. So on this game, I'd like to see some more of that macro heavy style that you mentioned. Like that's just kind of how both of these players like to play. But I'd also like to take into consideration is we're playing these games on the NA server, and in PvP where you can have such small engagements dictate the outcomes of games. Does he have a bit of latency disadvantage?
He perhaps has, but then again, HerO has played so many games on this server, and in the past, you know, he has made it to the round of 16 multiple times. He did it in WCS America 2013 Season 1 when he won the entire thing, and he also did it in Season 3 when he made it to the quarterfinals. Of course, you could say for a while PvP has been sort of the Achilles heel of Liquid HerO, but he had a lot of time to work on it, and we all know that HerO, you know, he's a player that's very hard on himself. I don't think there are many players out there that get more sad or frustrated over losses than HerO does, so I'm sure he was very pumped to do well in Season 2 and that he has played plenty of games and that he is prepared to deal with the small latency disadvantage that he has. But I think that this is HerO on like 98% of his full power.
Yeah, that's you know, it's a good point. HerO's the kind of player that wears his heart on his sleeve, and we're loaded in here, guys. You can see in the bottom right position we've got our red Protoss player from Evil Geniuses. It is HuK, just tying this series up with a very nice just control, honestly, over that mid game, that macro stage where he was able to hold his base after dealing a little bit of damage. He's up against Team Liquid's very own HerO, our blue Protoss in the top left. And this map to decide it, we'll see who goes on to play against Pig Baby in another PvP.
Yeah, today is going to be PvP madness. We've said it earlier today. Actually, the introduction I had in mind today is, guys, welcome to our new studio. Yes, that's right, the ESL has expanded. And that's the only expanded you'll see today, because we have a lot of PvPs. So far, that's been sort of true. I mean, we have seen expands, but by the time that they were up and running, the game was pretty much over. But I am guaranteed, guys, that we will see a couple of long games today as well. But above all, PvP is a matchup that's a lot about dealing early game damage, having the right build order, and microing your units. That's why this is a real matchup that some Protoss players, they love playing it, and some Protoss players, they just kind of hate playing it. But the maps are getting better and better for this matchup as well. That makes it a lot less random and much more about skill.
Yeah, that's interesting to see. We have the gateway finishing up for HuK. I was wondering if the timing was pretty similar, though. Doesn't seem to be any shenanigans as far as the build orders go so far.
No, HuK went for the 12 gate, HerO with a 13 gate, but both are rather economic openings, no crazy 10 or 11. If you wonder, like, hey, how can the difference between 11 and 12 be that big? Well, it's not extremely big, but the difference is that with an 11 gate, you drop your gateway before you drop the first chrono boost on your Nexus. And with a 12 gate, obviously, like the moment that your first Pineland finishes up, you chrono boost the Nexus, you get 2 probes out or 3, and then you drop your gateway. So that's the difference between 10-15 seconds, and of course, is a difference between 1.5 probes spawning a little quicker than the other player.
Yeah, and what we saw, it was kind of cool how we used that couple extra seconds that Stalker was out to put on the beginning phases of HuK's pressure on the last map. So when we look at this map overall, I said good for Stargate. We have the Mothership Core and Stalker being chrono boosted out for HerO. His probe is going in. We haven't seen really any probe scouting from HuK at all in the series.
No, he doesn't even scout for proxies. Like, if I was HerO and I would see my opponent twice, he's not probe scouting. And of course, he had no time to actually watch the replays in between. But I think the next time these two play against each other, we might just see HerO going against his religion and actually dropping 2 gateways in HuK's main base, because HuK's kind of asking for it.
Yeah, the SOS builds, right? Going the super aggressive. Twilight Council for both players, though.
Yeah. But it could very well be a Dark Templar opening over here for HerO. Like, I was kind of feeling as well. Like, once again, we said this earlier today, this is a large map. It's hard to find everything that's hidden on the map. If HuK finds this probe and he's on the right location, this could really destroy HerO's plan a little bit, because I really feel that HerO is playing DTs. Like, I'm really positive, but we'll see.
HerO's DT's Rose treat to watch. He's got the probe there by that pylon. Up, it's Blink.
Okay.
So both players going Blink on this map. And there's a reasonable little bit of space that you can try to blink around, but it doesn't really sell itself as a big blink map at first. How do you like at least both players doing it against each other on this map?
It's reasonable, because there are ways to get in and out of the main base. Above all, it's a large map, so having units that are very mobile. But what's interesting is that they went blink in different ways. Like, HerO opened up with a sentry this time, so he could always wipe in a second sentry as well. I think that was the second probe there that died for HerO. And above all, he used his sentry energy for hallucination. HuK right now is a little paranoid. He's like, oh, an Oracle. He even cast his Photon Overcharge as well, but his Oracle is as fake as, I don't know. Some people would say my tan, but guys, that's all natural. No spray tan over here.
Well, unfortunately for him, that Photon Overcharge was real, and that kind of takes the Mothership Core out of the equation if there were to be a battle, although I guess blinking kind of act as a soft counter to time warps. So at the very least, it definitely says HuK, if you want to defend now, you need this sentry that he's warped in. You can't just rely on his Nexus cannon anymore.
And HuK, of course, doesn't really know what's going on right now. He drops the expand. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, going blink expand is just solid against pretty much everything. There's just no build that this is very bad against. You could say maybe like a crazy Phoenix into a 4-gate push that can somehow kill you right now because you use Photon Overcharge in the main, but it's very unrealistic that your opponent opens up with 4 Phoenixes and never shows them. You know, that just doesn't really happen. HerO is expanding as well, so we might actually have the first real macro game, because from this point on, when both players open the same way and they both expand at relatively similar times, it's going to be very hard for one player or the other to make the difference in an attack. Like, there's almost no sort of timing, as people like to say, that could potentially hit. You know, you could say, okay, maybe one player focuses a little more on upgrades and gets Robotech, while the other player goes Immortal Archon and wipes in a few more gateways and then just goes all out. But attacking up a ramp in PvP in like similar economies with a Photon Overcharge and a Time Warp, it's borderline impossible. So I think this could be a very long game, and we could potentially even see some Tempest on this map as well.
Yeah, that actually be pretty cool. I haven't seen. I personally haven't seen too many of the crazy long PvPs very recently. We have a couple of
You
Immortals
need to
coming
watch
out.
more, Johan. Letot. Every game that Letot plays comes to the fact where he's sacrificing 8 immortals. Now, then you know it's been a passive PvP.
I don't know. I think we could learn all sorts of things from you on this. Hallucinated Phoenix comes in, checks out the natural of HerO, pokes that mothership core ever so lovingly, and sees the robotics facility. So both of these players are kind of going for mirror setups at this point in the game. You know, an immortal here, an immortal there, but no crazy differences. This Forge will be the first set of upgrades that we see come out, at the very least for HuK.
Yeah, I think HerO is going to drop a fortune in the near future as well. HerO is confident enough right now to move out. HerO has actually never seen this expand yet. Maybe that's why he was a little worried. He's going to send a hallucinated Phoenix right now, this time in a different direction. Look at HuK. He's really trying to deny any sort of scouting, which, you know, could keep HerO in the dark. HerO right now drops his own forge. That's why he was perhaps a little worried, because he just hasn't seen as much as HuK did so far in this game.
Yeah, but both players take their simulators in the natural at close times. These hallucinated phoenixes. It's more so about knowing what your opponent is up to and also keeping track of this army position. You don't want to get caught off guard. A couple stalkers blinking into the side of your base can be really threatening. And I think he's actually got some of his units spread around his base just in case that was a possibility. HerO has quite a few of his own stalkers just kind of camping the left side of his main. Robotics Bay is coming in for HerO, so looks like Colossus choice from him, but just additional gateways at the moment for HuK.
This is going to get interesting in really many ways. Colossus, of course, very strong defensively, but this is not Wings of Liberty anymore. And more players are just kind of rushing up to Tempest, and the moment you have one Stargate, it's so easy. Of course, we don't have one Stargate just yet, but it's so easy to get a couple of Tempest out, even though with those additional gates and now the Temple Archives, I'm not sure what is going to happen. If I was HuK, I really wouldn't attack in this game, and I would just be like, hey, HerO, you're making Colossus right now? Well, that's cool for you. I'm gonna open up with Tempest, and then eventually HuK will get his own Colossus as well. But we'll see. It's all a guessing game. Like, some people are really against skipping the Colossus in PvP, but in some ways, especially if the Colossus player wants to attack, it could get really tricky with Colossus. I don't know. It's a little bit of a gray area right now. Like, what is the right time for Colossus? What is the right time for Tempest?
Well, HuK's Templar Archives has finished up. He's got some pylons wrapping up outside of HerO's base as well, so we could see some Archon warp ins to help break force fields. You know, he didn't scout that robotics bay in the early stage. He still doesn't know that it's on the map. So if he breaks these force fields and just has more gateway units because of the investment into those Colossi, maybe this could work. He's coming in. The Stalkers blink straight towards that mineral line. Photon overcharge is activated. Zealots coming, bringing up the front. And the force fields lock the Stalkers out, but they blink down the ramp straight into those Immortals. HerO loses quite a few Stalkers.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that blink from HerO. It does buy time for these force fields to expire, which really made it harder for HerO's Immortals to deal some damage. More Zealots being wiped in right now, but the one Colossus has arrived. A forward blink by HuK. He's going to try to focus down these Immortals. He gets one of them, and even the second one is taking so much damage. Those Stalkers traded so well. HuK, I think he's going to be able to do it over here. He takes out the Colossus. He took out all the Immortals, and those are the heavy hitters. I can't believe that this worked for HuK. Like, this is an attack that normally should not really work.
This is just madness. HuK has he found the Achilles heel? Could this be the second time we see him defeat Liquid HerO in WCS America? He will be pushed back for now, but still with a nice little bit of a supply lead. Those Zealots went to town on those probes as the Stalkers pushed the front. Total worker count 46 for HuK against 29 for HerO.
Only 26 probes remaining, and 4 Stalkers are going to blink into the main base as well. We all know the power of the 4-Stalker hit squad. HuK smells blood. He doesn't have to win the game right here, right now. He sees a bunch of units in the natural. Okay, he doesn't want to blink in the main right now. We see HuK dropping a Robo Bay on its own and a second robotics facility. He's just like, hey, if you're making Colossus, those could bring you back in the game, but what if I'm just going to do the exact same thing as you do, but over much better economy? HuK doesn't want to overcommit. He threw game 1 when he was ahead. Man, HuK plays so well against HerO for some reason. Just like everything he does kind of works. Pretty bizarre.
It's that EG Liquid rivalry buff.
Because I really think that the first force fields, those were really bad for HerO. I guess those were HuK force fields. It was kind of hard to call because for a second it looked like those could have been defense force fields, but all those Immortals being zoned out for such a long time and the Stalkers being stuck in the main base really allowed HuK to get in a good position. And then when those Immortals finally made their way around the south side of this Nexus, they were super exposed. There were just 2 Immortals, and HuK is like, cool, with his 8 or 9 Stalkers, he blinks forward, and he's able to pick one of them off immediately, and the second one fell just a couple of seconds later. Well, what a battle for HuK.
Yep, we have Stalkers, both players. At the very least, HerO's trying to clean up some of the pylons on his side of the map. +2 attack is going to be finished reasonably soon for HuK. He's getting that extended thermal lance, but double Colossus production. He, you said it. I'll play what you're playing, except with my better economy, I can put out so much more than you that I can just hit an attack where we have similar army compositions. This way, you have no advantage.
I must say, HerO has bounced back worker-wise in almost no time, though. I'm a little bit surprised by that, especially because HuK, like, you're going up to 3 bases, so he has been dropping the ball a little bit on worker production. He had money in the bank as well, so it's not like he couldn't afford to build those expensive units like Colossus and build probes at the same time. I still like HuK's position, of course, because I think in general he's ahead in everything. He's going to be ahead in the Colossus count real soon. He actually already is, because HerO had no money to make Colossus. HerO has just been making Immortals and Immortals only and saying, like, I'm going to try to go up to 3 bases because that's what I need. Especially if you're doing the same thing. Did he scouted already? Yes, he did. Well, you know, HuK is in a great position. There's really nothing else to it. What can HerO do to bring back this game? I don't know. When behind Dark Shrine, maybe?
Well, at the very least, he's focusing on at least getting his upgrades. HuK is ahead, sure, but HerO is just trying to play this game to the best of his ability. And sometimes you'd say when you're even playing from behind can be a death sentence, but this is one of the situations maybe he can try to do a little bit of damage. Pick off a base, I don't know, get a couple of the pylons on the left side by that third. There's a wide open area to attack into. But this Stalker hit squad, the 8 Stalker hit squad coming now.
Yeah, that's double the force of 1. That Immortal's a little bit out of position, but we do have charge, so that's going to make it a little more annoying. Eventually, I think this Stalker army could clean up this army, but it would be quite micro-intensive. He's going to have to micro for a little bit. He loses one of the Stalkers. This army just kind of sneaked across the map. If I was HerO, I'd right-click on this Nexus right now, kill it, and recall out. I don't think that he can win a straight-up fight. I don't believe that, especially not against 4 Colossus. That's just so many. HuK is up 40 supply. HerO right now is kind of abandoning, giving up the hope of this third base. So he's not going to recall out. He wants to drop a good time warp, and he somehow wants to win the game. Well, he's going to need to have these Immortals literally stand next to these Colossus and give them immortal kisses to somehow win this game.
The time warps land, but he's already walked out of them. One Colossus in the front gets picked off. The Zealots charging forward onto this Colossus is quite nice. HuK has the direct reinforcements here, though, and the Immortals, both of them picked off. He's only got 1 left in the back. Those Archons out of shields. And another big Zealot wave to reinforce, but Colossus, they're not really concerned. This Mothership Core attacking the Colossus from above.
Yeah, that's actually kind of nice. There's no anti-air over here, but there's just not enough over here for HerO. More charge lots being wiped in, or just normal Zealots actually being wiped in. But all these Colossus still alive. 1 Colossus does fall. This Mothership Core is working OT over here. I hope they're getting paid for that, but I'm afraid that this is it. This is all over the crying. 1 Stalker is coming back right now for HuK. A few more Zealots being wiped in for HerO, but HuK for the 2nd season in a row is going to defeat Liquid HerO in the round of 32, and that is something to be very proud of, because HerO is still a world-class Protoss player, one of the absolute best I think there is. It's just a couple of months ago that he was, winning I Am Cologne. It feels like a long time ago, but it's actually not all that long ago. It's fantastic, really impressive performance by HuK.
Yeah, and that was just really cool, because when you look at the way that those games played out as well, it was very standard play from both of them. We didn't see any proxy gates. Maybe HuK went for the fast gateway on Overgrowth, but overall, those games went relatively long. He was able to push his advantage, demonstrated a really clean understanding of the matchup, and that was just some good, clean StarCraft. I don't think there's really any way to try to take those wins or the value of those wins away from HuK. Really great play.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, especially if you take a look at the first game, the game that HuK actually lost. That was a game that he shouldn't have lost. Like, he killed 6-7 Stalkers before he lost anything. He maybe lost 1 or 2 Stalkers, but everything looked great for him. He had Blink, he was playing against Trigate and Stargate. That's literally like the worst thing to have against Blink. But then he just got unfortunate. He didn't expect an Oracle. That 1 Oracle flew in, killed 17 workers and sealed the game for HerO in a position where he was almost dead and buried already. So if anything, you could have said if this would have been a best of 5, it could have been a 3-0 for HuK as well. Really a solid performance, and that must give him some confidence and some momentum to go up against the next opponent for HuK, which is of course Big Baby, who defeated Revival earlier today.
Yeah, and that of course means that in our losers match later on, we're gonna have HerO playing against Revival.
Wow.
Definitely not the losers match that you would think of when you look at this group. Of course, HuK has taken these wins before, but Pig Baby, we haven't really seen him play that much. This is a cool opportunity for him to get out of this group, and HuK has one more solid series he needs to bring out if he wants to get straight out with the double 2-0. But that's gonna be tough for sure.
Just to put things in perspective, our losers match right now, Liquid Hero versus Revival, that was the final of WCS America 2013. How bizarre is that? It's like right now it's the losers match of the round of 32. A year ago, or a year and 2 months ago, it was the final of the entire season. Either way, we're excited for our next PvP series. Hopefully you guys are excited as well. Of course, once again, keep the tweets coming. Hashtag WCS. Me and Nate had a small giggle of some of the things that you were sending to Nate in the earlier breaks. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know what you think about the games. And let us know who you're cheering for. For now, we're going to head over to a very small commercial break. And after that, we'll be back with Pig Baby versus HuK.